One more division left to play, boys and girls. NFC South Preview. Division of straight mediocrity and ass last year, if we're being honest. You're talking about 2-9-8 teams, a 7-10 team, and then the Panthers. We're 2-15, bro. I mean, we'll start with the Falcons because they made the most noise in the offseason. They were 7-10 last year, 17th in offense, 11th in defense. Fire Arthur Smith. They bring in Raheem Morris. Sorry, I got my defensive coordinators mixed up there. They bring in Raheem Morris, who I like. A lot of energy. Still a young coach. Last 3 years of the Rams DC, they're pretty good defense last 3 years. I just think it was time for something new in Atlanta. Arthur Smith did his best, but he never had a fucking quarterback. What are you supposed to win football games with Desmond Ridder, who was just cut by the Cardinals? Come on, guys. I don't know. But we'll see. What is Kirk Cousins? Does he unlock this offense? All we talk about for the last 2-3 years is the amount of skill players that the Falcons have. Kyle Pitts drafted in the top 10. Drake London drafted in the top 10. Bijan Robinson drafted in the top 10. And yet, none of them look like top 10 picks. Maybe Bijan a little bit, but he didn't get the ball enough last year. Can Kirk unlock this offense? Get Kyle Pitts the ball. Get Drake London the ball. Can they do it? I hope so, because it'll be really fun to watch, and I think Kirk will make this team a lot better this year. What's the new identity? I think the identity will be hard-nosed defense, man. The ATL. We got to play defense out here. Year 2, Bijan Robinson. Please give him the fucking ball a lot. Please. Falcons, if you're listening, I want to see Bijan ball out this year. I expect them to have a massive year. We just talked about Pitts and London. It's all about Kirk. If Kirk is healthy, they should play much better. And then, what's the plan with Michael Penix Jr.? For all we know, Kirk is scheduled to play week 1, and he will play week 1. But Kirk's older, 36, coming off an Achilles. If he gets hurt and Penix balls, do they go back to Kirk? We'll see. I hope we don't have to see Penix this year, because that means Kirk was healthy, and you don't ever wish injury on anybody. But if we see Michael Penix this year, it could get electrifying quickly. They had Judon as well. They acquired him in August for a 3rd-round pick. He only played 4 games in 23, though, but he had 28 sacks combined in 21 and 22. So if they can get that version of him back, their defense will be really good. Justin Simmons as well. I can't believe this guy was a free agent for as long as he was. He signed in late August as well. 2nd-team All-Pro in 4 of the last 5 seasons, and the Broncos just let him walk. 30 picks, 64 pass deflections in 118 games. I think Justin Simmons is one of the best safeties in the league. And they got him for pretty cheap. Like, that's not a bad deal at all. They pick up Darnell Mooney and Ray McLeod for some wide receiver depth. I already told you they moved on from Desmond Ridder. Jonnu Smith left, Calais Campbell, Bud Dupree, and Jeff Okudah. So, they replaced most of the guys that they left, and they added some new pieces that I really, really like. Let's talk Tampa Bay now. Buccaneers, baby. 9-8. Made the playoffs last year with Baker in year 1. Beat the Eagles 32-9. And then they lost to the Lions in the divisional round. They started 4-7, but then finished the regular season 5-1. Baker really turned it on. They were 23rd in offense and defense last year. They were pretty bad for most of the year, to be honest. Let's be honest, they were bad. Baker's now firmly the franchise quarterback. 3 years, $100 million. Pretty much screams like, hey, we're riding with Baker, and I'm very happy about that. I think Baker deserves that job. I think he earned that job, and I think he should be the franchise quarterback for that team. New offensive coordinator, Liam Cohn. He's the offensive coordinator at Kentucky in 21 and 23. He's the Rams OC in 2022. You might remember that was the year Baker signed on 2 days' notice and then won that Thursday night football game. So there's some familiarity there with the offensive coordinator and Baker. They are starting a rookie center, though, in Graham Barton. We'll see how that plays out. Tampa Bay usually has a pretty solid line. They have a good offensive line coach there. So center feels like one of the easier offensive line positions if you have to transition and play as a rookie. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's better than left tackle. Mike Evans. He's played in the league for 10 years. all 10 years, 1,000 yards. If he goes 1,000 again this year, he ties Jerry Rice for the longest streak ever of 1,000-yard seasons with 11. And he's done it his first 11 seasons. That's ridiculous. Mike Evans is so slept on. First ballot Hall of Famer. Well, he'll get 1,000 this year if he stays healthy. He will get 1,000 this year if he stays healthy. And then Jason Light. I couldn't believe this stat when a buddy sent it to me. The GM, Jason Light, is the key to their success. 26 of 30 draft picks in the past 4 seasons are on the roster. And 22 of 23 from the last 3 drafts are all on the roster. Every starter, not named Baker Mayfield and Ben Brenderson, were drafted by Tampa. That is elite stuff from Jason Light. That is how you build a football team. You draft, you develop, you start, you pay them. Love that from Jason Light. Wanted to bring that to your guys' attention about what makes the Bucs been so successful and what made Tom Brady so attracted to that team so many years ago was the consistency of what their franchise is with Jason Light and the players that they bring in. All right, let's talk about additions. Jordan Whitehead, he's back in Tampa. He was on that Super Bowl defense. He spent 2 years with the Jets, 55 starts for Tampa from 18 to 21. Like that he's back in there. He'll be comfortable there. Familiar with that system. Jalen McMillan, 3rd-round pick from Washington. He had 79 catches for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2022 at UW. A little bit of an injuries there last year. I think he'll be a nice piece to that lineup next to Godwin and Evans. And then Yaya Diaby on their defensive line. Now, he was a rookie last year, but 6.5 of his 7.5 sacks and 10 of his 12 TFLs came after week 8 last year. So the guy really came on strong at the end of last year. If they can get him and Joe Shoyinka to play really well together, they might have 2 bookend ends that can be really consistent rushing the quarterback from them. And then my buddy, who's a big Bucs fan, told me I had to talk about this guy, Cameron Johnson. He's from D2 Barton College. So I guess the Bucs attended his pro day and they loved him so much. And now he's going to be like a slot kind of return player for them. And that's what I was talking about in the open with the new kickoff. The returner is back in the NFL now. For the longest time, the returner kind of went away. The Josh Cribbs of the world. They kind of went away. They're back now, and the Bucs are proving that with this guy, Cameron Johnson here. Excited to see if he can get some rub, make a name for himself this year. Departures, 2 key ones. They lose Devin White from that linebacking core. And then Shaq Barrett, who they released, who eventually retired once he signed with Miami. Both those guys were on the championship team. They'll miss that production from them now. Okay, let's talk Saints. New Orleans, 9-8, 14th offense, 13th defense. Literally just the definition of a mid team. I think this is the final year for Derek Carr. I really do. No problems with Derek Carr as a person. I think he's a decent quarterback, but I mean, he had 3,800 yards, 25 touchdowns, 8 picks last year, but it's the most uninspiring football you fucking ever watched, dude. It's so uninspiring. Like, you turn on a Saints game and you're like, they scored? Okay. Doesn't look like anybody gives a fuck. There's no energy. I don't know how to explain it. The Saints just bore me to death. I think this is the last year for Derek Carr because I think this is the last year for Dennis Allen, their head coach. This dude is 24-46 as a head coach. How the fuck is he a head coach in the NFL? He sucks. Like, he is not a good head coach in the NFL whatsoever. So I think Carr and Allen, both, this is their last year, and it has to be time for a full-blown rebuild. It has to be time. They try to do this fake rebuild, once Sean Payton left and get Derek Carr and do all that and stay relevant. Tear it the fuck down and rebuild it, please. You're not doing anything by getting, the 13th, 14th pick in the draft and not getting any better and staying mediocre all year. I think it's time for a full-blown rebuild. And I think it happens this year after they stink. Does a playoff appearance this year, which would be crazy. They'd have to win the division. They're not getting a wild card spot. Does it actually hurt the team long-term? Fuck yeah, it does. For all the reasons I just said. They need to rebuild and start this thing from the ground up. They need to find a quarterback. Kamara and Cameron Jordan are getting older. They need receivers. Like, they need, I guess they have Olave and Shaheed, but they need pieces. They still have Lattimore on the defense, but they need to rebuild this thing, and they need to do it sooner rather than later. The only issue is their division isn't very good. So, like, they can still honestly sit there and probably say, like, hey, I think we can win the division. Whatever. They're not going to. New OC is Clint Kubiak. He's San Francisco's offensive pass game specialist last year. 1 season in Denver, 3 seasons in Minnesota. He's the son of Gary Kubiak, so he'll know that spread offense, West Coast offense, really well. But does he have the quarterback to run it? Will they play Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler, the 2 backup quarterbacks, if Carr struggles? Fuck yeah, they should. Jake Haener, Fresno State kid, balled out in the preseason. Rattler had a really good camp and a good preseason, was highly touted coming out of high school. If Carr stinks, they should bench him and play one of the younger guys just to see what they have. Additions, they got Chase Young, $13 million fully guaranteed. 7 games for Washington last year, 9 games for San Francisco, 7.5 sacks, 7 tackles for loss. Does nothing for me. Doesn't play hard at all. Kind of sad because he was a beast at Ohio State, but maybe that's because he was so much better than everybody else. They pick up Willie Gay from the Chiefs as well, 1-year deal. Started 47 and 57 games in KC last 4 years. Really solid linebacker. I know the Chiefs were bummed to lose him, and it's a good pickup there. They got a new left tackle as well, Fuaga, who I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name. First-round pick. And then they got Kool-Aid McKinstry, starting cornerback from Bama in the 2nd round as well. Michael Thomas, finally off the team. I mean, he only played 20 games combined since 2019 when he had the 149 catches. Dude pretty much disappeared from the NFL once he had 149 catches. That's a bummer. Sucks to see Mike Thomas go, but nothing really much there for the Saints. I don't expect them to be very good. All right, Panthers, last but not least, but purposely last. They were 2-5 last year, 2-15, last year. The worst team in football by a large margin. 32nd in total offense. Crazy enough, they were actually 4th in total defense, but their offense was so fucking bad they couldn't win any games. The biggest question is, where is Bryce Young's development in year 2? Because he got none last year. None. I don't know what Frank Reich was doing last year. I don't know why the fuck Frank Reich was hired after doing nothing in Indy. I felt bad for Bryce. You know, I'm going to go to bat for Bryce right now. Remember when Trevor Lawrence had Urban Meyer as his head coach for the first year and we just said that wasn't his rookie year? That's exactly what I'm doing with Bryce Young. Because I watched Bryce Young at Bama for 3 years, and he was one of the best quarterbacks in college football every single year, made plays that very few other quarterbacks can make, one of the most accurate throwers of the football, and can make plays off schedule. The issue is he had no fucking help last year. What do you want him to do? Adam Thielen was their number 1 receiver. Adam Thielen is a damn good wide receiver. He is no longer a number 1 at this point in his career. Their offensive line stunk, and they had no running backs. What did you expect Bryce Young to do? And their owner is throwing a drink on fans in a suite. Come on. This is the most dysfunctional organization in all of football. What do you expect from the kid? Give him some break. Cut him some slack. And now you have Canales, who's there, and he has to make this work. Because if he doesn't, this will go down as probably the worst trade in NFL history, right next to the Herschel Walker trade that gave the Cowboys 3 Super Bowls. They gave up an ungodly amount to get Bryce Young, and the Bears are reaping all the benefits from it. The Panthers must make this work fast, very fast. Can the defense do it again? We'll see. I don't know. I wouldn't expect them to have the 4th best defense in the league again this year. J.C. Horn's a really good corner. We'll find out. I'm not sure. Derek Brown, really good defensive tackle for them, leader of their defense. And how much can the offense improve with the new weapons? So the new weapons, Deontay Johnson, 5 seasons in Pittsburgh, 391 catches, 4,300 yards, 25 touchdowns in 78 games. Hopefully he can catch the ball for them. Dealt with a lot of drops in Pittsburgh. And then they get Xavier Legette. 1st-round pick from South Carolina, 71 catches, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns last year for South Carolina. And he has every interview, if you're on Twitter, anywhere, and you see Xavier Legette talking, just click on it and enjoy, because he's got the best voice in all of football. Love listening to that guy talk, but he's a dog too. Don't get it twisted. He's a dog. He can play. They need Chuba Hubbard to play better this year. They need their running backs to give production. And then they need A'Shaun Robinson and Jadeveon Clowney need to play well on the defensive line next to Derek Brown. We'll see what happens. I don't expect shit from the Panthers at all. Maybe they'll win 4 games, 5 games. I do expect Bryce to be better this year, but I'm picking the Buccaneers to win this division. I thought about going Falcons. Fuck them. Baker Mayfield all day. I'm riding with Baker Mayfield and this Bucs defense combined with Mike Evans in this run game. I'm going to believe in it. It could be a massive mistake, but I'm going to pick Tampa Bay because I think Tampa Bay, no matter what happens, will be in it towards the end. Atlanta as well, if Kirk stays, even if Kirk doesn't stay healthy, I think Penix will do it. But I'm going to pick Tampa Bay to win this game or to win this division. Don't know how I feel about it, but I'm not picking the Falcons. I don't trust that Cousins will stay healthy all the year, but if he does, they will win the division. That's for damn sure.